Hello, everyone. This is Psychic Underlord from PsychicUnderlord.shop as well as PsychicUnderlord.etsy.com. We have another video we want to bring to you tonight. This is actually another top secret video. So I would ask everyone to, uh, if you could, put in your headphones so that we don't expose people to information that they may not be interested in receiving. A lot of information, a lot of things coming down tonight. I was led to do this video here, instructed here in the middle of the night, here on the East Coast, close to Washington, D.C. And we want to put together a show tonight for you to be able to explain what is happening. The National Intelligence Director has submitted a resignation effective June 2026. We want to provide some information. Of course, this is a spoof, and we'd like for you to put your headphones in so that this top secret information does not go very far behind or beyond your ears, because this is for your ears only. You and the intelligence community, as well as the conspiracy community, disclosure community, futurism, time travel community, ritual community, and esoteric community. We'd like to submit this high level of information for your discernment, for your eyes only. And of course, we're going to utilize the Psychic Underlord perspective in terms of spiritual technology so that we're able to decode this massive, massive stream of consciousness that we're about to download. So we're still waiting for you to be able to put in your headphones at your earliest convenience. Thank you. Broadcasting live here on YouTube. And of course, we're all here in the Destiny Control Matrix. So this is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of information for you to decode, and shouldn't be too hard for you to be able to take this information and do what you're supposed to do with it. We want to talk about outliers. This is, we are living in a time when people are publicly considered and cast as outliers, and they're working in the federal government, they're working in the state, they're working in the local municipalities. There was once a time you could not at all ever be an outlier and be receiving a federal paycheck to do so. And of course, the entire Biden administration, those years, Tulsi Gabbard was harshly, she was put on the no-fly list. She was put on the terrorism registry, all of these types of things. There are a lot of things in the background of Tulsi Gabbard that are unusual. She's an armed forces person. She pretty much hit the DNC as one of the bright young upstarts, a la Obama. She came to the stage. She was seen as a front runner. She's run for president. She is one of the most well-known people on the political scene here in America. And for her to have been so harshly treated by the Democrats, maybe it's because she defected to the Republican side and became a registered Republican after admitting that some things were not right in her estimation with the Democrats. And of course, she's also very young. She's one of the youngest people in the political scene. And to wield such power at the highest rungs of our political system. So we're going to get ready to share some information about this concept. Our chief spy chief, intelligence director, she has been a highly disruptive, a spiritual initiate. She's one of the first Hindus, and that's what people assume, that she was a Christian. No, Tulsi Gabbard is a Hindu, and she's boldly come out proclaiming that she's against the deep state, that she wants to take down people that were doing questionable things in government, very strong-handed, very opinionated, very conservative. Her background as a combat veteran is basically challenging the low vibrational control scripts of someone who's not a career bureaucrat, but rather has been a soldier in wartime, has served on the ground, boots on the ground, coming from the military industrial complex and seated at the top of the CIA. And of course, if you're into conspiracy, people say that the CIA is not very unusual for people who with a top secret clearance to be seated there. And of course, there are a lot of things we don't know, but uh, from soldier to director of intelligence, it's quite impressive. A basic an outlier that comes in and then resigns right as in the beginning of the Iran war. So there are a lot of secrets, state secrets, federal secrets that are maintained all over the place, but no one could see this coming. And we know that people have personal things going on in their life. So, of course, we're going to accept that as the reason. She's been an anti war figurehead. How can she be a military soldier and also be anti war at the same time? I think that's why she was a Democrat. But she converted to the Republican side. And then when the war has begun, we have to have some type of recourse to be able to uh, steer the course through this military operation that's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. All of the different economic streams coming through those waters and out into the world, and the conversion uh, from the state of the trade to a commercial sense amounts into trillions of dollars. And this affects many, many people. So there's a lot of things happening. Now, the interim National Intelligence Director, he has also taken the helm. So uh, we should be in good hands with the new gentleman who is seated in that position. This has fractured uh, and erupted, especially on Memorial Day weekend when they remember the soldiers who lost their lives in battle and wars, in conflicts all over the world. They say freedom is not free. And it's true, because to maintain freedom, they've had to pay so many people, they've had to pay off people, they've had to work with sanctions, they've had to work with allies and all these different things just to stop the idea that we would not have a free country. There's been so much invested in this process. So we're keenly looking at the surveillance apparatus. This is harvesting global behavioral metrics, the data from so much surveillance, all the compilations, all the different renditions of how these things dovetail together and work against one another, and counterintelligence and all of these different things. It's been overwhelming. And if you were to think about that this has been going on since the very beginning of America, and they even say that people like the slave abolitionist Harriet Tubman, that she was also a spy. Josephine Baker, one of the most famous dancers and singers to ever have come from America and to leave America, become a huge star. She also served as in espionage in World War II. So we're saving people. We're doing all these different things. This is not a free process. And then Memorial Day weekend, just before for her to submit this, is quite surprising. The resignation letter was pushed live. So there was a geopolitical uh, window that has been set. So June 30th, we're talking about the end of the fiscal year. We're talking about the end of the recess of Congress, Senate, and everyone's going home for the summer into their districts. And meanwhile, even President Trump has said that he was not going to attend the wedding of his son, Donald Trump Jr., because there were so many things happening that he had to be very conscious of. So, of course, he's the president. Of course, this is the type of decision making that he makes because of the job and because of the assignment that he's taken, which is the highest assignment in the world. So, the Matrix manifested a diversion uh, through the process of the Destiny Control Matrix and the timelines. And I'm not making light of this. I don't want you to think I'm sensationalizing. The timelines made it so that her husband, he was diagnosed with some type of disease, and she decided to make a decision to choose family over systemic government metrics. So we don't know when the conflict in Iran will end. We don't know when all of these different things will end. So jumping on is disruptive, but it was for the reason of the family. So we have um, the perception of family actually as a part of the Republican regime. I haven't had anyone that I've heard of recently that have said things, oh, because of their children, because of their family, because, and the president also said it was a good idea for her. So we're rooting for Tulsi Gabbard at this time. Um, of course, there are many war hawks inside the White House, and they have executed an aggressive containment script. Of course, they don't want to take people's eye off the ball. We have too much happening. There's a real issue with lives lost. There have been thousands of people in Iran who have been blown to smithereens. They have something in the Strait of Hormuz that is pulling ships down into the bottom of those waters, and we don't know what it was. America has moved toward the Indian Ocean. They have created an exit strategy, and all the other people who are doing trade with the Middle East, they're able to freely traverse. But the Iranian factions, they cannot put even a flotilla into those waters without it being dragged down into the watery depths. We don't know what's going on. We know that there's a technology there. We know that there's something that is very shocking, and maybe we'll reveal those in future videos. So, Director Gabbard, she's been basically out of the room during the live video feeds, high stakes military operations in Iran as well as in Venezuela. So she was not uh, more so seated in those war type of arrangements when they had the operation that pulled the president of Venezuela out of his presidential palace, as well as this is according to intelligence. We don't know, we don't know if this is true or not, but they say that the Iran war was not based upon the CIA. It was based upon other information that came in. And this could be from the global elites, it could be from the bankers, it could be because of, they said that the insurance companies are what has created the debacle, and insurance underpins all of this stuff. If they can't get the money to replace the materials that they're actually leasing, that they've actually been leasing out. They have global leasing. They have all these different things tied up together. And when they say no, that can create a legal issue that will cause something that would be quite ending to any operation that they were seeking to pursue. So President Trump has instantly deployed the deputy director, Aaron Lucas, as the incoming acting chief. So he's moving a compliant corporate atmosphere. He worked under Gabbard. We don't know if he is an outlier. If he's, I would assume that someone like Tulsi Gabbard would have someone more functional and more palatable to this to bureaucratic system working under her to be able to synthesize these messages and this information into something that is quite acceptable because she hasn't had any gaffes that I can recall other than when they had the Signal group, something that was a New York Times reporter was linked into some type of top secret discussion about something, and they said that this was some type of negligence. We don't know. But Aaron Lucas is here so that he can stabilize the intelligence uh, mainframe setup that they have and all the other different top secret agencies that flow under his jurisdiction. The Iran nuclear disclassification, that was an anomaly. We know that for years, even President Obama, he would constantly harp on the nature of the animosity that he had for Iran and for their behaviors and what was occurring. So this is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is something that has come to bear under a Republican administration. This created uh, a metaphysical rupture because we think about human life, we're thinking about safety globally. It became more than just some type of political disagreement. It was a philosophical rupture. So Gabbard, she prepared Senate intelligence remarks stating that Iran's nuclear program was destroyed in this operation the last few months as they've been doing this. She said that they no longer have any nuclear capability, but that contradicts what President Trump has said because he said there is an imminent threat still present in Iran. We're looking to create a deal. We're looking to make a deal. If they have no capability, he wouldn't be trying to make a deal. So, right there could be a slight mismatch in the messaging between Tulsi Gabbard and President Donald Trump. But it clearly did not result in her being terminated from that position or fired, as others have been. Uh, it seems as if he was much more patient and able to work flexibly with certain types of people this term. He waited over a year, and now I saw the precipitous terminations of in several different departments. I won't even name their names, but you're aware of individuals who were creating $200 million commercials. Uh, but she was also reassigned to uh, another faction of the Americas, uh, the Shield of the Americas coalition, and she also has a lot of information based upon her experience in Homeland Security. So I'd ask you again if you can place your headphones into your ears so that we don't expose others to information that they do not wish to receive. Thank you. Bypassing her office's traditional espionage parameters, Tulsi Gabbard personally appeared at an FBI raid of election offices in Georgia. mapping her focus onto domestic voting software matrices. Now we know Fonnie Willis, she had not even been appointed to the DA for even a month. And she said the office was in a disarray and the office had a total budget of $2 million. Was that office being utilized as an outpost, a place where the Democrats were placing malicious software and election tampering information? Or she said that, well, not she, but according to the raids, they said that there were so many ballots that were fictitious and fraudulent coming out of this little office. And this little office, this woman, Fonnie Willis didn't even know Donald Trump. And she clearly is a state level, a state level official. Why in the heck is she adjudicating over a federal case? They put her there into that case. And to see Tulsi Gabbard and her stature as the chief, the spy chief for the entire country, to go down to Georgia, um, there are a lot of people that are more experienced in technology and knowing uh, the nature of what's going on there. But it seems as if she was going down there in an unusual way. Uh, but that was also quite shocking. So we don't want to say that that would have been something uncharacteristic because, even the interim district uh, DA, uh, Judge Janine Pirro, she's also a national figure. She's been on television for years and years. She's presided over many different type of scenarios. So her expertise, even working in the district, I don't recall hearing her speak of any type of national or international things outside of the scope of her job. Yes, Tulsi Gabbard is a higher rank as far as when it comes to intelligence and in that type of information. But going down to Fulton County, it just seemed like it was uh, beneath her pay grade. The cabinet has been going through a slight purge. We also have DA Bondi, who was quite strong in her testimonies. Uh, and also, she served, in my opinion, for the optics and for the media and keeping the exposure for the Trump administration, keeping the eye on the administration. I think that she was a worthy asset, and also she was very measured and very um, calculating, but also not overbearing because there's this whole political thing we're in with the Democrats and Republicans. So um, I believe that she also, as the uh, right hand, as far as uh, legal matters, legal affairs, that she that was just her style to be a little bit more quiet and a little bit more um, reserved in terms of what she was going to speak or speak about or discuss. So this is a part of her nature, and it didn't seem to last beyond the first year. The high level exit of Tulsi Gabbard is a timeline sweep. So this has consumed top female administration officials, including Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi. So the timelines, when you have those were the big three: Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem, and Pam Bondi. All of them are now gone. So this is a time where things have to happen. We're in wartime. We have to have people who are ready to be in wartime, not ready to go down to Tennessee or Mount Rushmore or anything like that, because Mount Rushmore is not at the border. Um, so we have to consider the optics, and that we have to keep our eye on the ball because we're in the game. We don't ever get out of the game, and that's frightening that people can be distracted in that manner. So the intelligence cartel targeted Gabbard because her structural reforms successfully shrunk the intelligence community's headcount by nearly half, threatening their data harvesting, threatening the economics as far as having these people continuously embedded within the government and within government assets and in government affairs. This could have been through the Doge from the very outset, and then they all turned around and saw that, oh, all the people are gone, but the government is still functioning. So the first thing that President Trump wanted to do was to stabilize the economics of the country, to be a good steward, because look at all the fraud that has yet to be adjudicated and yet to be um, line by line stripped, because we've had a free for all in the accounting for so many years that we have to bring things back to where they should be. In terms of, this is my assumption, is on the side of the Trump administration. So the Matrix handlers attempted a character assassination by filing a whistleblower complaint accusing Tulsi Gabbard of withholding intelligence for partisan political gains. So those people who were terminated went over to the side of the Democrats and started playing politics. And now that becomes a lightning rod of an issue because the defense of those terminations should have been laid bare before the public so that uh, we would have even more runway to be able to move. But that's a mute point because she's gone within a month or so. So she's in the process right now, I'm sure, of closing out her affairs and different things like that. The uh, she is the first, as I mentioned earlier, she's the first Hindu of Congress. Hinduism is the oldest religion in the world. It's actually the first official religion passed down, uh, monotheistic. And then they created a pantheon because, of course, time goes on and people start to create temples and they start to create belief systems and fellowship and all these different things. And Hinduism actually started off as something that was actually pure. And then, as it is now, from what I understand spiritually, half of the Hindu pantheon is nothing more than Satan, and the other half are legitimate God entities that were passed down from the creator here into the matrix. And so we have a country of 1 billion people, and half of them are Satanists and don't know it. Half of them uh, are, so it's kind of like Christians, because the assumption of the casual or the secular Christians in America, they think that there's somewhere in between of a war. When you have a war, you have two different sides. There's two different sides only. There's not some uh, middle ground where you can kind of be a Christian standing on the side of the road. The only way for you to go from one side to another is to literally transfer instantly over to the other side. There's no interim place. So who knows what she believes? Because if you're a Hindu and you believe in the wrong deity, you actually are worshiping the fallen entity, Satan himself. in the form of different names. So she swore her oath on the Bhagavad Gita, and she's also from Hawaii. So she has this. What is this Hawaii thing with Obama, Tulsi Gabbard, uh, this international thing? That's the Hindu Bible. She brought this non-Western. She came on when she was first speaking as a soldier that had been deployed and come home. She had a lei around her, and this is of course a tradition of people who are in politics in Hawaii, as well as uh, the island culture. People they wear those flower leis around their neck, but it came across as non-Western. Uh, but people didn't seem to mind. Everyone loved her. Everyone thought she was great. She's strong. She's a soldier. She's pro-America, all American. But when she switched from Democrat to Republican, she became enemy of the state. So it was also spiritual. The perception is that she was very spiritual. We haven't seen that come out right or have her express her faith. I've seen her speaking many times, and I don't think that she's ever uh, attributed her faith as far as anything in terms of her performance. Uh, she's basically been put into the heart of the national security apparatus. So this is an East meets West because those deities that are over her spirituality trust and believe they are over her spirituality, and she is dictating according to what's happening inside of her. And what's happening inside of her is a Hindu umption that is occurring. This is an operational death of the administration's uh, restraining coalition, where they had people. She was one of these people that was pro-America and pro-military, but anti-war, which was, like I said earlier, it's kind of like a Democrat thing that you can be pro-America and anti-war, so we can sit around and let the international community. Oh, we can trade with everyone. We can allow everyone from everywhere to do everything. We trust everybody. We believe this is nothing more than an experiment. See, there are people in America that don't believe this is an experiment. This is their life. This is their family heritage. This is where they were born. This is so much deeper than some type of cultural experiment done by the government or the assumption that the people in power have so much of a power where they're just educating us according to how it should be. Uh, so now there's no one else in the Trump administration, I believe, that's trying to restrain anything. Uh, this they tend to naturally repel those types of characters, and they all looked really good standing up all with each other, and all these different chiefs of different departments. They all look really good until the chairs start moving around. Now, how are they going to stand? Who are they going to stand next to? Who is actually is their partner when we're here in a wartime situation? And we've also got past the honeymoon stage. Uh, we're trying to be miserly with our time here, and we don't have time to play games. So her presence out of the picture is going to take away all of this restraining and preventing the war. This is a time of war. Uh, the corporate feed, Main Street media, all the deep fakes, those middle manager deep fakes, they were hyper focused on her past defenses of Edward Snowden and Bashar al-Assad from Syria. So she was actually defending this whole concept, this freedom of speech thing, and the whistleblower, the things that he was coming out, the state secrets that he was leaking and saying that the government has all this power, they're doing this, doing that. He was hired under national security, Edward Snowden. He's been in exile, living in from different countries. He's applied for asylum, and they've granted him asylum. Did he betray the United States? Is the biggest question. Because so many people think that if you're a whistleblower, you have the right to report anything that you feel in any way. But he did it in such a big way that it could have perhaps caused uh, casualties and caused a lot of problems for the United States. Uh, whether or not the things he was reporting were uh, so shocking or things that people already didn't know, perhaps, uh, is is up for debate. But he's still in exile, and he is saying he doesn't believe that he'll get a fair shot in court and all these different things. So Tulsi Gabbard was on his side. So this would have been a great time for Edward Snowden to come back to America. Uh, Bashar al-Assad, he was also the Syrian president previously that was ousted from the presidential power, and all of this upheaval and all of this grand migration from the Syrians up into the Africans, all these different uh, countries unloading their people into Europe, which has created this migrant crisis. Um, she supported them, and this could have been a distraction from what was at hand in terms of intelligence, because those were old news before President Trump even came into office. So are we kind of seeing how this all dovetails together? There were things that were happening, but cumulatively they present uh, quite a case to understand and seeing, well, how could someone like Christy Nome, could someone like Pam Bodney, there are elements to this process, and there are documentarians in every part of that whole building and every part of that coalition, consultants, people that are advising. How do you think that they find these people so quickly, and how they have discovered and sourced these people? There are constantly people looking to create for the change management uh, and to facilitate those changes that are necessary for the government. The That was kind of happening out of the peripheral, the perspective of the National Director of Intelligence. The moment that her resignation hit Twitter, alternative and mainstream news boards experienced a massive glitch trying to parse whether it was a personal sacrifice or a deep state ouster. Did someone from the deep state get involved in Tulsi Gabbard's situation and say that this is uh, the time to end her administration? It was. There was a digital panic because people are trying to figure out, are there others? Are there others? We're still in the middle of this Iran conflict. The focus, the harvesting of focus, the monetization of focus. Uh, Director Gabbard refused to let a traditional role uh, to kind of make or break her. She's always been unconventional. She's been very quiet. She's been along with the lines of the intelligence community. Everyone felt that she did maintain those secrets, but it was her perspective that became a questionable aspect. So she also said that it wasn't the intelligence community's job to determine what constituted an imminent threat. So you would think that information from the intelligence community would have come to the table of President Donald Trump and have been would have been used to confirm or deny his actions. She said that the earlier she said that Iran had no nuclear capability, and the president said that they do. So he's getting information from somewhere else too. Why is the national intelligence director not on board? Is what in the corporate side is being discussed. And even though now we still have some time that she will be in that role, um, this could be uh, seen or viewed as strains or elements of contention between President Donald Trump and Director Gabbard. The sudden shocking manifestation of what happened to her husband is is like a reality firewall. When we think things are going to continue somewhere, we have so many people that have come down with these sudden cancers, which are shocking. And you say, "Wow, this is just so inconvenient at such an inconvenient time that this is occurring." And this has redirected her personal life force here in the Matrix. We don't know if she's actually going to appear back with the Trump administration, if she's going to take a leave of absence in 6 months, come back, or what's going to happen. We also saw things like when Nancy Pelosi's husband was tragically assaulted, how she took time off for that situation and then returned back into politics, which at her age is so incredibly shocking that she would have the desire to return, especially when all of this happened in the same city that she actually was responsible for, that she maintained, that she had been um, the head of, Congresswoman for San Francisco and all these other towns. And seeing how things had happened, and she was saying, "Oh, everything is perfect," until they went to her house, and these terrible things have happened. Senate Minority Chuck Schumer and opposition lawmakers acted like they were invisible people, and they were instantly demanding that the administration stop rewarding loyalty over competence. So this was when they stepped in, the Senate minority spoke up. When they saw this, were they manipulating the executive branch to possibly, was it an enticement of President Trump to his power and to his hand, saying that this is the time when he can show strength and show power uh, by doing what he must do. But we still don't know if it's a leave of absence or if she has resigned or if this is uh, something like did she resign and also did President Trump accept? So those are three different variations that are actually would be documented and would be discussed and examined in the time moving forward. But Chuck Schumer took it upon himself to see the moment, and it also speaks to the possibility of Chuck Schumer for him to observe and see that that could have been an issue where a Trump loyalist was being given some type of coddling, uh, and that the moment required resolve, it definitely speaks to what is happening with Chuck Schumer. The Operation Midnight Hammer, highly classified details regarding the obliteration of foreign enrichment facilities reveal that the deep state is hiding energy metrics under the guise of standard kinetic warfare. How in the world did they take a small group like they had, institute Midnight Hammer, hit Venezuela all the way up to the top with basically less than even one military, uh, less than one company, and they all. This is the special. So they have these some type of technology that is allowing them to move quickly into these foreign factions, as I described in my remote viewing, when they had those holographic um, town squares in Iran that were presenting illusions to be able to control entire areas of town. They had all these different individuals whose assignment was to move throughout for surveillance and reconnaissance. They're moving information in and out. The people are looking like they're employees, but actually, they are actually workers for the government. Um, there's a lot of information, heavy information. I would not have been able to bring that information to you guys on my own at all, nor would I. But it was important for you to know that the resources that were being utilized on the side of Iran, there are other resources that are being utilized by the United States. And Operation Midnight Hammer really showed that. Rumors across rogue intelligence circles say that Gabbard's exit allows her to dodge upcoming congressional subsessions regarding withheld classified files. So whatever that is coming up, that can just be, we can chalk that up to political mudslinging. Oh, well, she's just resigning because she won't have to testify. Yeah, she won't have to testify because she's gone. And I think that applies to the director of Homeland Security as well as uh, the Attorney General of the United States. So, are we talking about a master plan? Are we talking about a truncated plan that has actually been put in place through Project 2025, now finally coming to bear? But does anyone see it? Does anyone see how that could be a simulated and actually executed, beautifully executed Project 2025 to, at these certain people at a certain point, they exit. Nobody has an idea how this is being played. Nobody has an idea. But it was clear that the people who created it had a plan for how it was supposed to work out. And even like when they switched out Christy Nome for Mr. Holman, and then switched him out for the new Homeland Security. So, and then they're all still in the fold. The Shield of the Americas, Mr. Holman's still there, and also the new director's there. So no one's complaining. But could this be an act of musical chairs instead of actual musical chairs? Who knows? Well, she won't have to testify anymore, so now we're going to not have. Yeah, Why waste her time if the idea is for her to take a dive or take a trip so that because the they know that they have the power. They know that these things are in motion. And the massive cabinet realignment, it clears the board. So there's more uh, executives, maybe more people who are war prone, uh, who are able to come in, seize control of various different departments or different aspects of the departments. Just a lot of people in the Trump administration who are not even cabinet directors also are receiving sometimes celebrity type of treatment because they have things to say, they have perspectives that are useful for the media to convey. So uh, they may have these people that want to get in line for this. Global timelines, global checkpoints, not just the Strait of Hormuz, but it could be things happening in different other aspects. We have there's always things going on in the Pacific. There's always things happening. Uh, that's going to also change the flavor and the taste as we go into summer in terms of what's happening with the commander in chief and his administration. This um, stepping down voluntarily has uh, executed the spiritual technology, the movement, the flow. This is characteristic that people are continuously in motion. These are hard jobs. These are very demanding positions. And prioritizing natural humanity and lineage over the matrix demands for endless labor. To have someone just work and be involved and to show and prove and to stand up and to show up every day, those assignments do exist. And it takes a supernatural person to survive in that element. But it also shows that there was quite a bit of mercy and humility uh, from the Trump administration toward Director Gabbard. Publishing her unedited resignation letter directly to social media, when she put that on Twitter, it was like a system wide broadcast because what if her resignation was rejected? It entirely bypassed legacy media filter. She didn't send it to the media, she sent it to the internet. And that was maintaining an appearance of sovereignty over the scenario that she had fully in mind, what she was intending to do. The ultimate victory belongs to the independent observer who recognizes that Washington's intelligence musical chairs are possibly temporary theater pieces. So you have people, and it looks like they're going to stay. It looks like they're doing this, looking like they're doing that. Things may work out differently. So just anchor your awareness in your own cosmic origin. Is this a message to you? Is this something that says that you have the possibility to change direction, to go a different course with what you're trying to do? It's up to you. So I'm going to end here. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed this intelligence spoof video. And please check us out at psychicunderlord.shop. We have our psychic rituals there to align your life and to transform timelines to place you firmly and squarely in the direction of your desires and to transform to move you out of the epigenetic bondage of your past, work with your cosmic potential your present clearing of the karma, and aligning you in the path that you intend to go. Also, check out our rituals on Etsy. We have over 500 rituals up on Etsy at psychicunderlord.etsy.com. Talk to you soon.